Imagine your poor helpless child lying in a hospital bed hooked up to IV fluids. Your child has just been diagnosed with influenza and is fighting for their life, all because you as a parent chose not to give your child a flu vaccine because you thought it was either too expensive or you didn't want your child to get a needle stick. All of the pain and suffering could have been avoided by one simple vaccine. Of course, your child could still become very ill when being vaccinated, but their risk of getting influenza greatly decreases. Why should we vaccinate our children? There are so many reasons why we should vaccinate our children, but the number one reason is to ensure that our children do not become ill. So many times you hear of people becoming ill with Hep B, chickenpox, and influenza. All of these can be prevented by vaccines. The normal recommended vaccines for children are Hep B, measles, mumps, and rubella, which is MMR, Hib, DTaP, pneumonia, varicella, which is the chickenpox vaccine, rotavirus, polio, which is IPV, and the influenza vaccine. Older adults also need vaccines to ensure that they stay healthy, like Zostavax, which is a shingles vaccine, and the pneumonia vaccine. A lot of parents don't want their children to become vaccinated because they don't want them to have to endure a lot of needle sticks. But what they might not know is that there is a schedule for children to ensure that they get certain vaccines at certain ages. There are also 2 vaccines that have multiple vaccines in them, like Pediatrix and Penticell. One excuse that parents give on why not to vaccinate their kids is that they're too expensive. Many low-income families believe that they cannot afford to give their children vaccines. However, the CDC has developed a program called VFC, which helps children get vaccines. Children who are eligible for VFC are on Medicaid, have no insurance, or their insurance simply doesn't cover vaccines. The clinic that you go to cannot charge the actual vaccine, but can charge for an amount to be administered, which is set by the VFC and cannot exceed. That usually ranges about $14, which is really reasonable to ensure your child's health and is way less expensive than a hospital bill. Another reason is people don't want their baby to cry. Many parents don't want to see their baby or child cry when receiving vaccinations, so they choose not to give them. As a parent, I know that it's extremely difficult to see your child cry, but you need to look at the benefits in the long run. If you keep your child on an immunization schedule, the most immunizations that they'll have to get at one time is 4. Just think, 2 vaccines in each leg to ensure that your child will be healthy. When your child is getting the maximum number 4 vaccines, you can always request 2 people to give so that it's done and over with quicker. If your child does get behind on their immunizations, there is a schedule that's called a catch-up schedule that can get you up to date on what you need. A lot of times, parents always say they don't know what's in the vaccines or the side effects of the vaccines. This is the most popular excuse. I always have parents ask me, what are the side effects? Can they be given together? And what if my child has a reaction to this vaccine? The VFC program has created VIS sheets for parents to read over before their child receives the vaccines. This sheet goes over risks, if your child has a vaccine, precautions. As a parent, you need to read this sheet and ask many questions. This sheet, there's one for every vaccine, and it just goes over what the vaccination does and the risks and precautions and everything like that, and then what to do if your child does have a reaction. In conclusion, vaccines are available to our children to ensure that they are protected from harmful, life-threatening diseases. Vaccines don't have to be expensive, but you should talk to your healthcare provider to ensure that you could get VFC programming and to see that if it can benefit your child.